Hi, welcome to Let's Talk. Today I'm joined by Tommy and Yolanda from Shaper Caper. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello, nice to see you. Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you very much for coming along today. As I'm looking forward to hearing a bit more about Shaper Caper, and I'm sure everybody else is too. So, Yolanda, I believe you're kicking us off today. Could you tell us what Shaper Caper is, please?
So we are a charity and we use dance theatre as the medium to convey our objects. So we work mainly in two areas. One that is about engagement, and that means we offer many opportunities for workshops and classes for people to join in. And when I mean everyone, is for everyone, because we do like under fives and babies and parents all the way until working with older people and people who may have conditions such as Parkinson's, and then everyone in between as well. The majority of our engagement is free of charge. So I think it's an opportunity perhaps not many people know. So just check our website, get in touch with us, and check how to get involved. And then the other aspect of the company, so about this is actually Tommy's focus. It's all about creativity and artistic creations, which is all about the shows and the productions that actually Tommy makes.
Yeah. So we do lots of performances. So we'll kind of take them to theatres around the country. So for instance, since we're based in Dundee, that might be Dundee Rec Theatre perhaps, where we perform lots of our performances there. At the moment, we're performing a show called Small Time Boys that's all about the LGBTQ plus community and what happened to that particular community back in the 80s and early 90s around the AIDS crisis. So we've been touring that now for the last year and a half. We even won an award. So it's been amazing. We've had sold out audiences with that across Scotland, which has been incredible. We're about to take it to the Fringe from the 1st to the 17th of August as well. So we're delighted. So what we kind of do is kind of a perfect kind of like, what we try to do is like find this kind of like perfect kind of marriage between kind of taking part and joining in, plus then the professional performance kind of performances that happen on stage. And we quite often kind of reach out to communities and ask, would you like to be part of it? So the Small Time Boys show actually features a community cast where people can get involved in our project. So sometimes that comes from, participants as part of our Parkinson's project or various other kind of routes, then end up coming and being part of our professional shows on stage, and also vice versa. We've had a really beautiful thing happen where some of the community cast and Small Time Boys are now the volunteers on the Parkinson's project that we do. So they come along every week and just support those classes. So
sounds great, and lots of good obviously opportunities for a lot of people to get involved in different things, like you say, Tommy and Yolanda. I mean, it sounds like a great setup you've got, very inclusive obviously for everybody to get involved in it, like you said. So, and I did have a look at your website as well, and it's amazing all the things you're involved in. So I would really encourage people to have a look at the website just to see exactly what different performances that you've got going on. So fab, brilliant. Now, you did touch on there about the Parkinson's, Yolanda and Tommy. So can you tell us a bit more about the dance for Parkinson's classes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So this project actually started off in New York. Many years ago now, by Mark Morris dance company and David Leventhal, isn't it? Yeah. Who then set up this project, like kind of looking at what are the benefits of dance that can have on people with various different kind of health conditions. And one of the ones that this project particularly looks at is about Parkinson's and how that can help people living with Parkinson's to improve their mobility, their mental health, still staying active and connecting with kind of family and friends as kind of carers who can also come along to the class. So it started in New York. It then kind of English National Ballet down in London then picked it up as well a few years later. And they rolled the programme across all of England. And then Scottish Ballet and Dance Space in Edinburgh, they then kind of hatched a kind of plan to bring this to Scotland. I think maybe was it around about 2016, 17, something like that. Really fab. So there's actually hubs of Dance for Parkinson's groups across all of Scotland that are kind of headed up by dance organisations and really kind of kind of driven by kind of Scottish Ballet, who quite often then kind of get in touch with kind of all the different kind of groups to do some training and kind of different ways and approaches to the kind of thinking. So yeah, we've been running it since the very beginning in Scotland. This was one of the first hubs, and we've kind of been in various places. Kind of like the pandemic, obviously, disrupted that, and we had to stop during that process. But we decided just actually it was such an important kind of opportunity for people to get together that we just switched online. So we then ended up, with all the comedy that kind of, that brings with it, about trying to, all work out how do you do a dance class on Zoom. But yeah, the community here in Dundee were just great in kind of working together, and also it became like a real lifeline for people to just connect and have that kind of, because some of the projects about social isolation and trying to combat that. So it was a really beautiful way of actually people who maybe to do with some other health conditions, in addition to with Parkinson's, then weren't actually able to come and be in the room together. So actually that carried on for a little while after the pandemic, about people still actually taking part in Zoom sessions. So we were doing, for a number of years after the pandemic, we were doing kind of hybrid sessions where we'd have some people live in the room, and then we'd have a corner where another teacher was then kind of teaching the people online. But it ended up being a bit full on actually in the end. And most people wanted to come back in that kind of live experience. People wanted to come back for. So we did it originally in partnership with Dundee Angus College. And then after the pandemic, we moved to our base. We're based at Manhattan Works in the Showcases Street building. So we did it here. And then more recently, we've moved to Olympia, because we wanted to kind of have the feedback from the group was they wanted somewhere that was kind of right in the middle of town, that was accessible for everybody. That, accessibility is obviously really important for that group, with the various kind of, needs in terms of mobility. So, we kind of moved the group into Olympia a couple of years ago. So, but we're always just kind of responding to kind of what the community needs and what they want and what's kind of the best thing really for their circumstances. So, yeah.
And I think that's the best way to go, isn't it? You've got to listen to the people who's actually needing this type of service, I suppose, just like you say, to get them out the house, get them involved. We're all hearing these days that keeping active is the best way to go. So, and I think it's good mentally and just to keep you physically going as well, isn't it? So, yeah, it sounds amazing. And how are the classes going so far then?
Yeah, great. We've had a team of kind of participants and staff who've just been connected to the project for so long. And there's been this like really beautiful thing with the participants where, they've kind of become like a very kind of like strong kind of group of like friends that, that will discuss kind of, various kind of approaches to the condition and living with the condition, and sharing kind of tips on things that work for them. And to try kind of various bits out. Sometimes they'll even share, things like recipes and things, but that kind of support both kind of in terms of the actual kind of the person living with Parkinson's, but then it's, and that's obviously what the project is mostly focused on, about kind of helping people with the kind of physical kind of benefits of the class, about improving balance and coordination, increasing flexibility, better posture and gait, all of these kind of things, as well as kind of cardiovascular fitness. But there's also then kind of the thinking about the carer of the person, which is quite often like a husband, wife, partner, and occasionally it might be a friend or a son, daughter that comes along, or a sibling. But quite often it's about also kind of helping to support the needs of the carer as well. So it's an opportunity for them to kind of just share kind of, how hard things are, that for some people accessing the right kind of treatment or resource or the right kind of facility or whatever that might be that is kind of within their kind of care plan necessarily, is then trying to make all that kind of work is also, it's a lot of work, so it's also an opportunity for the carers to just come together, share their stories about the successes but also the challenges on a kind of daily basis as well. Feels a really important thing. So every Dance with Parkinson's class finishes with a cup of tea and a blether. It's a great kind of chance for people just to just kind of let a load off and just be able to feel supported and talk very openly and honestly about kind of where things are at, and sometimes you get all the range of emotions. You get laughs, like deep, proper belly laughs, guffaws, right through to the sad times of actually sometimes, it's, the toll of that condition, really, makes itself known on the individuals involved. So sometimes it's just an opportunity to kind of go, I hear you, I know what you're going through, I've got the same thing going on at home, and that, problems shared and all that, it's really important.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's realistic at the end of the day, isn't it? People do come together, and that's what we want more people to come together to these types of groups you've got organised, just to do that, just to have fun, but to remember that they are there to support each other as well, and to be there as that network of people, just to be there and just to listen. I think that's really important to know that. There's not great big expectations for these classes. Suppose they're run weekly, I take it, so there's not an expectation to come every week. Come when you want to come. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And they just come, just kind of, and sometimes we totally understand as well that some mornings are just not going to work. So some mornings that, we'll get a message saying, actually, I can't make it. And of course, that's totally fine, because it's all about the individual. It's all led by kind of the needs of the participants. So if some weeks what they actually need is just to not come, that's, we completely understand that. And their space is totally open for them to be there. We try and kind of make the class something that is, like, to try to not make it daunting, because sometimes people hear the word dance and just worry about the concept of dance, and it's like, it's one of these things that it's kind of well spoken about in the dance community about, quite often before we learn to walk we dance, you'd be having a boogie before you found your 2 feet on the ground. You'd quite often listen to a bit of music and have a bit of a boogie as a baby. We see it all the time with babies, don't we? So, and then as we kind of grow up, we kind of lose that ability to dance because we get embarrassed, or we think dance is only for a particular type of person or from a particular background. And at Shape a Caper, across all of our projects, we try and kind of blow the cobwebs off of that really old school thinking about what dance is. And the dance really is for anybody. It doesn't matter if you've got ability or experience or whatever your mobility kind of needs are. Dance is for everybody. Dance can just be simply sitting in a chair, having a bit of a boogie about, feeling the music and connecting with other people. So we try and make that to be something that is absolutely core to the project. So people are not, that they're not going to come along and learn Strictly Come Dancing. It's not, that's not what the project is. There's no expectation about learning really hard choreography, but for people who want that challenge, that also exists there. But really, it's kind of, people can be wherever they're at. Sometimes we do get people who, in their youth, they went to like ballroom classes, or maybe they go to yoga or whatever that might be. So they might have an element of like kind of understanding their bodies from that sense. But actually, the majority of people actually are just people who are coming to dance for the first time. But the beautiful thing is, a few years ago, I think it was just before the pandemic, I think, wasn't it? We had a group of people who, all said they would love to be in a dance show. So we got invited by Dundee Rep Theatre to come and perform there as part of a big community dance show that Scottish Dance Theatre was putting on. And it was just beautiful. So all these people were telling these stories about, I'm in my 70s or my 80s. I've lived in Dundee all my life. I've brought my kids along to see shows here at Dundee Rep. And here I am performing on this prestigious stage in Dundee that I just never thought would happen in my life. And here I am living with Parkinson's and against, all the odds of maybe other people's kind of expectations, and perhaps their own, there they are performing on the stage. And they got like a rapturous applause, It was just beautiful. So we try and find ways as often as we can to get the group kind of performing. So they've done a dance film a few years ago. We made this like lovely dance film that was part of Scottish Ballet was kind of in Dance Space. We're driving this film across Scotland that would then kind of connected into a big like epic dance film. So we did one in a coffee shop, and they were all in character, kind of like smelling tulips and eating their bourbon biscuits and doing this gorgeous wee dance. So it's just
brilliant.
beautiful. Seeing them all come together and experience those things. It's just gorgeous, really moving.
Oh, great. It sounds great, Tommy. It really does. It sounds really good fun as well. And like you say, you can making some people's dreams come true, I suppose, as well, can't you? Just by being involved in certain things like this. So it does sound good. So when is the classes on in Olympia?
So they're on Mondays 1:30, is that right? Is that right? Yeah. Monday 1:30. Again, sometimes we just change the classes to kind of suit the participants. Kind of You know, because there's obviously medication involved, that some people need to take medication at a particular time. It might have an impact on someone. So sometimes some people need a bit of a sleep after they take the medication. Other times people need to go straight away after the medication. So we listen to the group about what they need. So at the moment in time, it's at 1:30. We do it at the Olympia. As Yolanda says, most of our projects are free. So this is one of the free projects. You know, we're a charity. We're always welcome to. We're always open to receiving a donation. But it is free at the point of access, so that money is not a barrier. And then, you know, in terms of the Olympia, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's obviously it's a really gorgeous, gorgeous center. We take the class in their kind of, I think it's got like the fitness suite, I think it is, that we do it in the kind of like the kind of open classroom. And of course, there's, you know, there's a lift that kind of takes people up straight from the car park, and you kind of come along a little kind of flat kind of access path straight into the studio. So it's nice and accessible and easy to kind of get to. And if people have a blue badge, which quite often our participants would have, then it's obviously free parking as well at the centre too. And of course, as I said, that cup of tea afterwards. So then people, you know, and it's right in the middle of town, you know, people can then go off and do their shopping or whatever they need to kind of do, you know, or dare I say, go for a wee swim.
Well, there you go. You never know. You never know. There's that much going on, just like you say, in that area. We're based in the Seagate as well, Dundee Carer Centre, so we're quite aware of what goes on there. So yeah, I mean, the Olympia is a great space. It's good. It's good to have something quite in that location anyway. So if people were keen to find out more or to come along to the classes, what should they do?
Yeah, so they could do one of two things. They can either give us a call. So our number is 01382 413 007. So they can give us a phone, and one of our team can take their details and kind of signpost them. And if that's the kind of preferred communication method, then we can absolutely do that. We also have a number on our website that people can text if they'd like as well, if they prefer to just send a text message. Or the one where they can find everything in one stop is on our website. So www.shapercaper.com. They can find all the details on there if they go to the Join Us page, and then they'll see all the dance classes that are available. And they can sign up that by email.
That sounds good. And what I'll do is I'll pop all these details in the comment section below as well. Okay, so if people are wanting to find out a bit more about the classes or about anything else at all, Shaper Caper do, have a look in the comment section below, and you can find out more there.
Amazing. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Tommy, Yolanda, it's been really nice to chat to you today, and it all sounds amazing what you do. All the best for your future performances, and I hope more people find out about the Parkinson's dance classes and get involved.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.